Hey, what's going on, guys? It's CreepsMaster, I believe. I renamed the channel. I was about to say Panda, but I kind of decided to call this channel CreepsMaster, kind of give it like a little bit more originality, because I call my gaming channel Panda X Let's Plays, and I call the other channel, even though it's called Ben Hughes, I do plan to call it like Ben X, like something. I like Panda X something. I just decided to give this a little bit more originality by giving it its own name. I know CreepsMaster isn't probably the best name, but I couldn't think of anything bad, to be honest. So let me know if you like that, if you think it's rubbish. Anyway, what we're going to be doing today is we're actually going to be doing a narration, but I decided for a little bit of a change, I'm actually going to kind of do like it's going to be like a narration, but it's going to be kind of like behind the scenes, because there's no going to be like it's going to be me on screen, actually like narrating it. And I kind of took the idea from, I want to give credit here, because I did take the idea off of someone else, Lupus Creepus, who did this kind of similar thing for like near Christmas. So I decided, because I kind of wanted it to be like kind of special if I'm going to do some of these, so I decided to kind of copy his idea, I guess. But I feel like it's good because you kind of see like, I don't say, like I kind of mess up a lot with my words. I kind of have to like cut things out and everything. This is going to be kind of like nice little raw, almost raw, but I will add the music in because I feel like might be a little bit more fitting. But it's going to be kind of nice to see like how I narrate these. So I decided, considering I wanted to do a Christmas one, as it is Christmas soon. I don't know when I'm uploading this, but it's going to be Christmas soon, as I should be uploading this. I did get this. Well, I didn't get it, but like I got this one year. I think it was from like my mum or something, and I decided, considering I'm going to do a bunch of these. Like I usually wear a black T-shirt for these, and I was scrolling through my wardrobe and I found this, and I thought, oh, this is fitting. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. But enough for the narration, because I shouldn't really drag on the narration. I'm gonna get on intro. Sorry. I'm actually gonna get straight into it. So what I usually do. Also, sorry, the room isn't really Christmassy. There's not really much I have, and I didn't really want to just buy things. Because there's like I didn't know what to buy. But usually when I'm doing narrations, I wear these. These are my glasses, obviously. Like no one's gonna be confused. They don't really work well on camera because you can kind of see my screen. Can I read it without it? I kind of can, but I'm going to be squinting. And so the video probably is going to be looking a bit weird on my glasses because you can kind of see it. So, I don't know. But anyway, let's get straight into it. So the narration I'm going to be doing is I wrote to Santa as a kid. Today he wrote back. So I'm going to try my narration voice. I know it probably doesn't sound that much different from my real voice because I'm not the best narrator out there. But I do try to sound a little bit deeper. So, I guess we're going to get straight into it. My school had a yearly tradition around Christmas. The teachers would rally all the students of our school, an example of me messing up my words, would rally all the students and all small town schools to write a letter to Santa. The teacher all collaborated and empathized to us that they all knew Santa's real address, and what we wrote would be sent to him. I don't know, whenever my parents never religiously drilled the idea of Santa into me, or it was a weird kid, or I was a weird kid, but throughout my childhood, I never believed he was real. So I would always feel this kind of entertaining this letter scheme was below me, to me. This was just, so I always felt the idea of entertaining this letter scheme was below me. To me, this was just a silly way for the teachers to get kids excited for the holidays. In school, I was one of the rough kids. I got into fights a lot, and the majority of the other students would avoid me. Even teachers had proficiency. Here's an example of a word I don't know. So sometimes I would like look it up, like look up the pronunciation, or I might just cut it out. So let me just, I could just cut it up for the sake of this, because it's kind of like, improvisation. It's exciting to have felt, okay. That way you just know, like, kind of what it means. But sometimes I just cut it out. Of being around me. Scared my temperament was not limited to just kids. Hindsight helps me say this. But at times I thought it was everyone else who was weird. I attributed this to my uncle and what he did. He was brute when my parents weren't around, which was a lot. He was the one to look after me. During those many nights, he would be rough with me, making me try beer, telling me leakless things I was woefully ill, prepared to know. All the delusionals that he was making me tough. That he was making me tough, when in reality, it was made me close off. I'm only able to express my emotions through violence and hate. Each year, I never participated in the writing letters. When I did, I'd often just scribble insults or crude doodles, but every so often, I noticed something. A handful of kids would come after Christmas break, raving that Santa brought them what they asked for. They would talk about how Santa left a letter saying that they were especially good that year and brought their wildest dreams to life. Kids from poor families got the latest game consoles. Lonely children got the pets from their dreams. One kid claimed his mother's illness was taken away by Santa. In my pessimistic attitude, I just drummed it up to the excuse that the teachers gave the letters to their parents. Another reason I never took part in the writing scheme, scared my uncle would catch wind and would judge me for what I secretly desired. The pattern was undeniable. Kids were getting what they wanted, and in some way, if it was worked up for me, the letters sent to my parents was an interesting way to slyly let on what my uncle was doing, to tip off my parents at what he was going on behind their backs, all to avoid a lesson drilled into me by the uncle that snitches get stitches. Literally a mantra which kept me quiet for far too long. One year I grabbed a pen and ham-fisted a simple letter. I am professedly wrote that I never wanted to see my uncle again. That I wish. So weird because I'm like looking this way, but yeah. That I wish Santa would take away from me. I finished my note, also asking for a puppy. I was a kid who didn't want a puppy at that age, something my parents never knew, since wanting a pet was girly, according to my uncle. When some of my more outspoken kids confronted me of the idea of participating in such an event I was so vocal against, I simply told them I wrote the nastiest letters to the head teacher. I told wild details that the kids rolled in laughter, in a way adding to my persona. A metaphor for the fey kid I had built up. Christmas came around. Everything happened as they did every year. A dysfunctional family dinner and the awkward quiet opening of thoughtless gifts, despite the ritual not changing. I was broken. I berated myself for hoping the little hope had left, only to be wasted. From then on, that says from then on, my life was turbulent. I'd basically lost all of my hope, and for many years after, I lost friends, ruined relationships, and threw away opportunities all because of my attitude. Inside, I never felt like a bad person, but it was how I expressed myself, and then something amazing happened. Something saw that my first long-lasting relationship was with someone that understood how I felt inside. She was very patient. She had to be. She stood by me for many rough years, something I commend her for, though I didn't see it at any time. My life with her was the best years I could ask for. Sadly, it didn't last forever. Time grinded away at my relationship. Unmoving attitude keeping me still as rock. Me as still as a rock as she pushed forward in her life. Eventually, the distance was too much, and she had no choice but to leave. It was her leaving that family that shook me enough. A wake-up call. I hated how I became a slave to myself, always saying I wanted to change, but never truly lifting myself from my spot and taking the necessary steps forward. Admittedly, I started seeking professional help in the hopes of winning my girlfriend back, but after starting, I couldn't stop, and as soon as I was doing it, myself and no one else. I lost where I was. This is not to say it wasn't easy. Family gatherings brought back everything. I had a reputation, and I was terrified to break it. But privately, I was starting to edge myself, edge out of my shell. I started with therapy sessions, opening up about everything. After keeping it inside for too long, I realised so much tension, I found myself shedding in tears. Something unheard before about me, if you know who I was. Switching personalities is hard when surrounded by people you know as a certain way. So I took to some online apps to meet new friends, new people who didn't know me, a fresh start. Excuse me. To contrast my life, I chose events and activities that I made fun of throughout my early years. I met up to play video games. Instead of drinking beer, I secretly hated in rough bars. I spent time learning some Magic the Gathering, rather than the poker nights that always ended with a little scuffle. Hell, I even did D&D. To my surprise, I started feeling something I hadn't felt for a long time as I could remember. The warm feeling of joy. I had missed that my whole life. I always knew it was in me. I was saddened somewhat by how long it took to come out, but was overshadowed by bellowing feelings I had now. I used this energy I took to amazing things with the people I hurt. Through social medias like Facebook and Twitter, I hunted down the people I wronged throughout my social life, my school life, and after. Some moved far away, so I could only message them. Often they initially thought I was messaging them. I was messing with them in complete disbelief that I even contemplated showing a softer side. Some unfortunately didn't accept my apology, something I understood, and settled on the notion that I tried. I became a new person. That is the year when my uncle went missing. It was out of nowhere. Around midwinter, he was healthily active and up to his usual shenanigans. My phone went off, so that was really confusing. Where was I? So it was a shock when I received a call that he never came back from one of his nights out. Searches were made, posters were hung, and notices were sent. However, no trace was ever found. It was like he disappeared into thin air. Christmas was not long after, and things were initially quiet. An empty seat weighing heavy on the family's mind. I could see the family was not infused, so I did something unexpected. I took initiative. I started reading the jokes from the Christmas crackers we had poured before our meal. At first my family was shocked, but soon joined in. I heard something I hadn't heard from my family for a long time. Genuine laughter. We played festive games afterwards, despite being fully to the brim with the Christmas dinner. I made a fool of myself, and I thanked my parents for not making a big deal out of it. I was a changed man. In the end of the night, we opened up our presents. Most gifts were thoughtless as usual, remembrance of how Christmas used to be. However, my gifts lift up the room. Each one carried level of thoughtlessness that had never been seen before. Feelings I kept in the inside for so long materialized and displayed for all to see. Something they all picked up and vowed to top the next year. The last gift was odd. Topped with a small envelope. Some thought it was my uncle before he disappeared, though I doubt he actually really got me anything before. Though I doubt it, as he never really got me anything before. I started with the card, written in the cleanest cursive I've ever seen. It was addressed directly to me. The message was brief, with talk on how good I was this year, and wishes that I got everything I've asked for. I started to think it was from one of my childhood classmates that I reconnected with. My heart jumped to my throat when I had heard a noise bounce from around inside. Despite years of confident, a hardened composure, the sound I heard froze me for a minute. Panicked, I ripped open the package and looked down, as two adorable bright eyes stared back at me and barked. Okay, so that was it. I was actually really expecting that. I thought it was going to be something grim, but I guess that's not that bad. Anyway, thank you very much. Wait, he asked for that, didn't he? Pretty sure like some point. Yeah, there was like a really random like cut. So like I'm actually recording this not on the same day I recorded the beginning of it. Made sure to wear the same shirt because same video, same shirt. Yeah, this is just mostly a experiment narration because I really want to experiment with the whole like recording thing, even though it's quite distracting because you don't really want to see my face. I'm not the best looking person you ever want to see. Also, the reflection of my glasses might also be distracting. Usually when I do narrations anyway, I'm usually recording off of a proper microphone instead of like what I'm recording the video with. I realize the microphone's not even attached to this. But for the sake of the video, I thought I'd just use the normal video audio. Just because I feel like the audio would just be too good, and I feel like the whole video would just be me having to like, hunch over the microphone. Even though I felt like it's going to be a little bit weird to look back on because I'm looking at a screen. So yeah, and I feel like there's a couple of things I wanted to mention, which I'm probably going to forget. But yeah, so this is a bit weird. Like, this is only going to be a one-time thing. But in terms of narration, I did think it was. In terms of the actual Creepypasta, I do think it was quite good. Yeah, there's not really much. There's not really much to say now. So thank you guys very much for watching. I do appreciate it. I hope you did enjoy the little like different thing I did this week. And yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy. And I hope to see you all in the next video. I'm gonna take these off because they're kind of hard to see in the video. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Don't know why I'm still holding the mic stand for. And I hope to see you all in the next video. Very much, and goodbye.